be here. And I know that all of you are going to be extremely disappointed, but the presentation is not going to be as long today as it has been in the past. But we did want to obviously start off by saying thank you for this group. As you probably know, United Healthcare Care Improvement Plus is the #1 MA plan in South Carolina, and this group has had a big, huge impact on that. Probably one of our most productive groups that we have in our market, year after year and month after month. So we do appreciate it. But we're gonna start today, and we're gonna tell you some good things. We're gonna tell you some that's maybe not so good, but we're gonna tell it like it is. And we've seen some of our products that had a little bit of deterioration in benefits. We've had some changes that makes us very, very competitive in other areas. So we'll kind of go through everything as we go and kind of give you some ideas on where we stand. And you notice Rodney's in the back of the room and I'm in the front, because that's if I need to get away quick, I can get out. But the mission that we have, our mission statement for Care Improvement Plus over the years was serving the underserved. Kind of changed a little bit with United Healthcare to help people live healthier lives. And for those of you that's been with Care Improvement Plus for over the years, I think you'll agree that we actually do that. And our agent survey that we'll take a look at as we get toward about middle way through will give you an idea on the impact of things that we do as far as our members are concerned. But to move beyond just the features and benefits, and all of us know, I mean, let's be realistic, we have to have good benefits, but move beyond those things to capture the whole experience. And when we talk about the whole experience, we talk about our care management program, for an example, and what that does for our members and your members to keep them healthy, but beyond that, to also keep them on the book so that you have those renewals coming in. I will tell you that our persistency is in the tops in the industry as far as MA plans, because very seldom do our members leave. The primary reason for people leaving, of course, is death. But what we want to do is to simplify it, and dedicated to making the healthcare system easier for you to use and for your members to use. Sometimes that's not possible, but also to personalize and try to make communications and programs and services more personalized. If you think back a couple of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, for the folks that were here, do you remember what a summary of benefits looked like? It literally took as they say, a Philadelphia lawyer to interpret it. But we have gotten more materials and whatever that we use and things of that nature a little bit easier, and to connect the people and the programs and resources together, and the tools that you need to help keep our members with optimum health. Things like our social services programs and things of that nature to keep the folks headed in the right direction. But who are we and how we tell our story? Of course, we're United Healthcare now. Just to give you an idea, do any of you sell in the Greenville market, by the way? Probably not in this, but you guys still have some agents up there. We're Care Improvement Plus in South Carolina. We sell in every county in South Carolina. We have an RPPO products that we sell not only in South Carolina, but we sell that product in Georgia, and in Georgia and South Carolina that product is all the same, no different. But we do have one county that we have a United Healthcare HMO plan in, and that's in Greenville County if you happen to be up there. But the consumer comes first, and we listen and understand to the needs. Try to use clear language to communicate with them and to get our message out there to them. But Robbie, you can go ahead and move on from that, because we're going to keep it short. But we think that we're more than a Medicare plan. It's more of a healthy relationship building with the members that you have out there. With the plans, we think that you get more than a low premium, and in some cases a zero premium. But access to care, for an example, one of the things that we tout about our product is what? Open access. And we'll help in situations where a person needs to find a doctor, for an example, in a particular area. but we are an open access plan, helping those people to manage those chronic health conditions, of course, worldwide emergency care. And we won't go through the whole thing, but the pharmacists and United Healthcare work together to make sure you avoid dangerous drugs. You know, how many of you have had your members to use the pharmacist? As a matter of fact, I have a friend of mine who is 82 years old that just had the pharmacist done. I talked to him this morning, and you know, it took him about a week to get back, and he had 2 medications that was causing him some problems. Because as you probably know, you know, some of our members take 7 to 10 different medications, and sometimes those medications conflict with each other. So, you know, things of that nature to work together to help keep people healthy. But ways to save, as you're well aware, everybody wants to save money on prescription drugs. We got some things that Rodney will talk about, you know, along those lines. And of course, the path to the well-being, and again, that's annual reminders to help you create your personal preventative care plan. We're going to have the physical exams available this year, every year. And one of the things that we do, we try to encourage people to see their doctor. Some of the companies, I wouldn't say they discourage it, but they're certainly not going to get you to try to go out there and just to see a doctor. We want the person to do their wellness visit. Because we think, particularly with the fact that we insure a lot of low-income people and also people that with chronic health conditions, that we can head off some of those long and serious problems by that. But also learn how to eat healthier. You know, we have dietitians that will help a person set up a diet plan and that sort of thing. The map, South Carolina, and as we had said, we simply put that up there to show that we're in every county in South Carolina with our RPPO product. And we do still have some LPPO products this year, but we would encourage you to sell the RPPO product because they're the most competitive for you. Okay, a look at the benefits and what we decided to do. These are the benefits that are filed. And we think that they're final, but we won't know for a little short period of time. But instead of going through all of the benefits, we're going to kind of tell you here what's different for 2015 to make it a little bit easier. We will have grids available for you shortly, maybe even in the next week or two. But we're going to just kind of go over today what we see as the changes. And I'm going to jump around a little bit because this is kind of not in order here. But the silver plan is going to be a plan that I think that you will sell a lot of this year. Why do I think you'll sell a lot of the silver plan? Because our dual advantage plan has lost some benefits this year, unfortunately, and the silver is going to be more competitive in a lot of ways. But as far as the silver from last year, not much change in that, right? I'm sorry.
Eddie, we got Scott mentioned we have some new agents with us.
Okay.
So maybe give an overview of each plan.
Yeah.
Just so that
Okay.
Kind of
For the folks that are new in the room, we sell, of course, a non-chronic plan that we'll talk about. We sell chronic plans for people with chronic health conditions, with cardiovascular type diseases, for heart failure and diabetes. I guess the proper term for the third one is, Rodney? Cardiovascular. Okay. So for those folks, that's our chronic disease plan. For the new folks in the room, that's an advantage for you because with a special needs plan, people can enroll year round. So we sell that product year round. And that product is sold with the silver plan, which is a dual plan. Not to confuse you terribly, but it's not actually filed as a dual plan, but it works as same as a dual plan, exactly like our other dual plan works. The other plan is the gold plan, and that's for the folks that are not dual eligible. So anybody that you have that would be LIS and they have one of those chronic health conditions would go into the gold plan. For the folks that are dual eligible, they would go into the silver plan. And we'll talk a little bit more about the other plans as we go. But the silver plan, not much changed from last year. you'll see co-pays and what have you up here and co-insurances, but those things are the things that Medicaid picks up. So it's not been a big difference. And I'm going to kind of drop down to the dual plan, if you can see it up here, the Dual Advantage plan. And that is our plan for the folks that are new, that are dual eligible, that don't have one of the chronic health conditions. We've sold a lot of that plan in the last year or so. And unfortunately, we sold a lot of it because it was more competitive. Now things have changed a bit. And things have changed as far as reimbursement on plans, and that's hurt a lot of companies, not only us, because you've seen premiums go up and benefits being degraded. But for us, this year, our silver plan is a little bit better for the duals if they qualify for that plan, because of the fact that reimbursement is higher to us for that plan, and we're able to offer more benefits. But on our dual plan, on our Dual Advantage plan, how many of you are familiar with that plan? Quite a bit, okay? So that plan, we'll tell you what the differences are. And again, for the folks that's new in the room, it is a dual eligible plan that in essence, I don't want to say picks up everything, but pretty much everything Medicaid picks up that the plan don't pay. So what has happened on that plan this year, we've actually lost the full dental benefits on that plan this year. So that's one of the things that's been one of our features on that plan, to sell that plan in the past.
Dental or dental?
Dental, all dental.
All dental, just
That's
on
right.
the dual?
Yeah, on the dual plan. And we've also seen a reduction in the eyeglass benefit to $70. And that's in essence the changes on that plan. So we're going to kind of show you why.
Did you say 270 from the 200?
From 200 to 70, that's correct. And we're going to show you why we want you to put your people into the silver plan. Now, having said that, I'm going to throw this figure out there because I've heard it. I've not seen it substantiated, but I think it's pretty close. About 70% of the people that has enrolled in our Dual Advantage plan qualifies for the silver plan. Okay, so you're going to have a plan for that 30% that won't fit into the silver, but if they do, I mean, diabetes is rampant in South Carolina. Heart failure in a lot of times comes about because of diabetes. And then the cardiovascular disorders. When you look at our seniors in South Carolina, the majority of these folks have one of those. So I think most of the people that you're going to talk to is going to qualify for the silver plan. But the silver plan also, in addition to have no changes, has some extra benefits this year. It has the over-the-counter benefit for your Tylenol and things such as that. But also that it has a better eyeglass benefit. Rodney, I believe that's $100. Is that correct?
It may be 125.
Maybe 125.
Well, actually,
Yeah,
hold on.
we'll have the stuff for you in a little bit here.
Yeah.
But one of the biggies on the silver plan is hearing aids. All the plans has a hearing aid benefit, but guess you want to take a shot at what the copay is on the silver plan for hearing aids? Zero. Goose egg. Now, I don't know of anybody
So they,
out there.
so they get free hearing aids?
Yes. One for each
So
ear.
they get the option, because they have the option to make different
You are so funny. Huh?
Yeah. Listen, trust me, we about fell over when we seen it. Because the hearing aid benefit is the hearing aid copay is generally from $350 to $400 plus for each aid. So I think, we've lost the dental benefit, but we picked up, how many seniors do you go and see that has hearing problems? They can get the hearing aid at zero copay. So I think that's now of course, they can't just call up and say, I want a set of hearing aids. They got to see a doctor, and the doctor's got to say that they need the hearing aids. But anyway, a great benefit on that. So the eyeglass benefit, so they're going to get the same basic benefits in terms of the doctors and hospitals, but the eyeglass benefit is better. Certainly you got an over-the-counter benefit, and you've got the hearing aid. So and it has a dental plan on it, and so as well. Not dentures, but dental.
Dentures are completely gone.
Dentures is gone. I don't know if you'll see anybody. Have you seen anybody that offers dentures? I think we were the last one.
Is over the counter staying the same?
Old County is going down some, yeah,
30 a quarter.
yeah.
30 a quarter.
Yeah. So, and to give you an idea on that, the utilization on the over-the-counter benefit is generally pretty low, quite frankly. It's a sizzle, you know, that people like and they use it occasionally, but, yeah, it's pretty well. Okay, so we've talked about that. The goal plan now is the plan that for those people with the chronic health conditions, right, that don't have Medicaid. Pretty much no changes on that plan. Anything jump out, Rodney, except for the Part D?
Yeah, the Part D.
Yeah, yeah. The goal plan, if you'll look at, if you can see it up there, if you look at the co-pays for an example from 2014 to 2015, they've not changed. Correct? Okay.
Is the gold plan gonna remain a zero premium?
It's going to remain zero premium. That's right. And
Can you talk a little bit about the cardiovascular, because I think that was overlooked a little bit this year?
yeah, yeah. Well, you know, I can't explain to you what cardiovascular it is, but it includes an awful lot of things. I think most often if a person has a heart attack, for an example, you know, that's going to be considered or generally stents has been included this year, things of that nature.
We've been asking,
Yeah.
Lydia and myself have been asking for the assistance in describing that, defining that for agents in the field. Of course, it's been a big topic for the last year. And they sent us, one time they sent us a link to four different medical links, and
Yeah.
I looked at it for 2 hours
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
had gotten through about a third of it. But basically, most, you know, if someone has had a heart attack, it's a good indication. If they've had stents, you know, it's a good indication that they have coronary artery disease, which would be a cardiovascular disorder. So a lot of those things, either cardiac arrhythmias can fall
I've
into that
seen a lot of,
category.
even like the
Yeah.
AFib.
Yeah, I would, what
Atrial
we've,
fibrillation, sure.
what we've done is we've suggested in the home, you pick up and call the doctor's office. Because obviously if they've got heart conditions, they've got a cardiologist, and that cardiologist, even the nurse there or the receptionist probably can tell them if they qualify as having cardiovascular
Yeah,
disease.
you know, the biggest thing that we can say about that is it's still 100% based on what the doctor says.
Yes,
If the doctor says
absolutely.
yes, we're good. If the doctor says no, then we're not. And on that chronic verification form, ultimately that's where it's gonna come from. So if you're a little uncertain, you can always throw that caveat out there at enrollment, but certainly wouldn't hurt to verify that with the physician's office, you know, at the time of enrollment.
But to reiterate, zero premium on the gold plan, but also, and let me back up a little bit because we talked about cardiovascular earlier, and the silver plan is only heart failure and diabetes. The cardiovascular is for the gold plan here. But as you can see, that the copays didn't change from, they stayed the same from 2014 to 2015 at the doctor's office, stayed the same at the specialist's office, stayed the same at the inpatient for the hospital. So the only really big change, and that we had to make some reduction of some kind because we got we got cuts in reimbursement, is, and I think they did a good job with this. There is a deductible on the Part D side, but it is only for Tier 3 and 4 drugs. Now, having said that, most of our people use the generics, and they fall in Tier 1 and 2. And Rodney, I believe you quoted a percentage.
Yeah, for our CIP membership, first off, they've moved. We were initially told 100 drugs. I think the last list that we had was well over 200
Yeah.
drugs, down from tiers, whether it be down from Tier 3 to down to Tier 2, Tier 2 to Tier 1. They've moved quite a few, a couple hundred drugs or so down a tier, which of course is going to help across the board regardless of what tier it started in. But also, after completion of those tier the tier moving, it left CIP members with less than 20%, less than 20% of our members will actually take a tier 3 or tier
Yeah.
4 drug,
Yeah.
based on claim history.
And one of the things too, which we want to like to mention there, about a phase, the deductible is $315, but it's only on tier 3 and 4. Tier 5 is the specialty drugs. There's no deductible on that, so I was happy to see that because those are the people that are getting hurt, the most is the people that's taking those real
And
expensive
that's
cancer drugs.
Eddie, I know it's impossible for
Yeah.
anybody to see, but for the gold, it's $295,
Yeah.
and then for the standard MAPD, it's $315.
Yeah, it's, and believe me, I can't see it at
Oh,
all from over here, I'd have done better back in the back. But yeah, so anyway, and that's the same for the MAPD, except I believe it's $315, as Rodney said, on the MAPD plan. So the, yeah, it's
Does that say
$295.
320 there?
Yeah, the gold plan is $3.
The gold is 315.
Yeah, the gold, as I said, the gold is $315 and the MAPD is $295.
Okay, I had it backwards. All
Yeah.
right.
Changing in tiers for the meds, is that all across the board for United Healthcare? In other words, will that
Yes.
also affect the AARP,
Yes.
PDP with supplements?
Not supplements, but any of the other
But that's what I mean,
Medicare
the
Advantage
standalone
plans.
PDP
Yeah.
that
Uh,
has the AARP logo on it. Is
yeah.
that-
Use the same formulary, right?
That's kind of what I was at, yeah.
You're talking about as far as the PDPs?
The
Well, they have,
standalone PDP, if someone's got a supplement and they need the standalone PDP.
right, I believe it does, but I can find out and
Okay.
shoot it down to Scott and let you. and
I
let
figured
you
since
know.
it was United Healthcare and maybe
Yeah, it is.
unilateral change.
Yeah, right. I think it's gonna be on all the formularies. So, but anyway, that leaves the non-chronic MAPD plan. Now, I'll tell you, as you well expect, we pulled that product last year, so you knew what was going on with that. Because of these folks with you folks that wrote a lot of it for us last year, other folks did. And the one thing that United Healthcare did that I was pretty proud of, because, we come over from Care Improvement Plus, we're Care Improvement Plus folks, but so we had some adapting to do. They decided to stop paying commissions on that product before the AEP, or I guess last year it was the OEP. We appealed to them and said, you can't do that, we're too close to it. So they did relent and said, okay, we're gonna leave it commissionable until after the OEP is over with, and then it went non-commissionable. And the reason for that was, when we started off, they expected us to write a little bit of that business, and we wrote about 10 times as much as they thought we were gonna write. And what had happened, if you remember, that plan was $70, and it went to zero. The company had no experience on that plan to see how it was gonna stack up in terms. And you take, 15,000, 20,000 members with bad experience, and that can turn a company upside down. So what they did was to stop paying commissions on it. That has been reinstated. We're fine with that plan now. It is a $29 premium on that plan this year, but what they were able to do with that $29 premium is to keep the co-pays and the hospital specialist and the doctor, primary care specialist, and the hospital inpatient the same as it was in 2014. So I think that you'll agree that the $29 is a pretty competitive premium for the co-pays that we have. And of course, the thing that changed, of course, was the two things: was the premium and the institution of the deductible on the Part D plan. But other than that, that's it for 2015. So
Can that premium be deducted straight from your Social Security?
yeah. Here's the other thing. Do you think anybody might be eligible for that plan that don't have one of the chronic conditions and they're not dual eligible, but they might have LIS? Want to take a shot at what their premium will be? $1.70.
That's for
So the
eligible.
MAPD is $29 a month. and all
$29
the
a
benefits-
$29 a month. The benefits are staying the same except the deductible on the Part D side. But again,
So if you have a MAPD with a LIS.
if they have
stuff.
full LIS, it's $1.70. Okay. Now, what's big about that, by the way, besides the
Get rid
premium?
of the deductible.
Premium. They can enroll any time of the year if they have LIS.
all year round, right?
They can enroll year round if they have any level of LIS. So,
Scott had a good question. Does the LIS get rid of the deductible?
yeah, yeah, it does, yeah, sure.
You sure?
Yeah, it says zero deductible
Yes.
Because on Humana's,
for drugs,
the, even people with LIS, they pay,
Oh, really?
they pay
the drug
they pay
deductible.
for their mail order, they pay some until they hit their deductible.
We'll double check it. We actually, believe it or not, are so early out here
I'm not-
that we've not received anything other than what we've been able to pull together. As you can see, not a real professional slide here,
If you'll
so.
notice on the slide, it shows it shows the dual plan with the $320
Yeah.
RX deductible.
Yeah.
The silver plan with a $320 RX deductible.
And
So-
Medicaid picks up those.
That's, we're assuming that it works the same way. We've not been told.
I don't know why it would
any
be different from that than it would be for the other plans that it picks up the deductible on.
Something else is if you don't pick your Part B up in time, and you get a penalty,
Yeah,
and you get LIS, you don't have that penalty.
right, that's true. That is
Anybody
true.
that didn't know.
There is no penalty for people that have LIS or any kind of, late
I
penalty.
knew that last year.
Okay.
Hey, are we getting magnets back this year?
Flip chart.
The magnets in the book.
Magnets and flip
Still no
charts.
I
magnets?
don't think so.
What about flip
Tell me, Rodney will tell you,
Those magnets
I
are
mean, I don't wanna take credit for anything that we do, but I can promise you, we had those magnets with Care Improvement Plus because I made an idiot out of myself for like 3 years in a row. Every meeting, national meeting we had, when the last thing that they had asked, anybody got anything they want to add? Yes, refrigerator magnets. And like the third year, I said, oh yeah, okay. And after the meeting, a marketing, vice president of marketing called me outside the room. He said, why do you keep bringing that up? And of course, they started adding the refrigerator magnets, but I'm not sure with United Healthcare whether it will happen or not.
And
So,
the flip chart.
yeah,
we
well,
want the flip
yeah, I'd
chart.
love to have
Flip
a
chart.
chart.
It was awesome.
They were awesome. They were
No, we
awesome.
will not have.
No, we won't have flip charts. But, you know, they have done some things that's been helpful, like the enrollment guide will have the formulary inside, so you don't have to go and dig for that sort of thing. Rodney, you wanna switch over? This is 2013 member survey. And the reason it's 2013 because they do it at the end of the year, so 2014's not been done yet, but, I had said early on that we'll show you why people stay and why your book of business is as stable as it is. First of all, this is the first year that we've really had any significant changes in benefits. But right here, 95%, and it was done by an external company. It was not done by Care Improvement Plus or United Healthcare. 95% of the Care Improvement Plus members are satisfied with the plan overall. That's astounding when you consider the type of business that we're in, the dual and the chronic disease. You know, for maybe a company that sells MAPD plans during the AEP, but for the people that is sick as the people that we insure, to say that's pretty good. Flip it, Rodney. Our care management, and this is, you know, if you've been around for a couple of years, you've heard me talk about how Care Improvement Plus got started. Our mother company, so to speak, was XL Health Corporation out of Baltimore, Maryland. And that company started as a disease management company, not an insurance company. And we did handle disease management for state agencies in Texas and some of the other states and in Maryland. And so after, I guess, 7, 8 years, decided that we would have an insurance product, and that's how we got started. But we stuck with the care management aspect of it, and 99% of the members who participated in the plan's care management program were satisfied with it. 99%. Pretty strong stuff. 92% agreed that it helped them better understand their condition and get more involved with their own health. And how about this one? 90% of the members reported that their health had gotten better or stayed the same since joining Care Improvement Plus. Now remember that we're dealing with folks that at a minimum generally are 65, but as old as 85 or older, with chronic health conditions, you know, we insure those 3 conditions on our gold plan and the 2 on our silver. But guess what? Most of our people that we insure don't have 1 or 2 or 3 of those. They have 3 or 4 other chronic conditions. You know, they also have cholesterol problems. They also take high blood pressure medication. They also have rheumatoid arthritis. All of those things. So very, very sick population. And to say that 90% feel like that they, you know, health has stayed the same or gotten better is pretty strong. And of those people, 96% felt that Care Improvement Plus had contributed to that. So we don't have a big turnover in Bennett in our base. I know you lose people from time to time, particularly in the dual market, because they can change anytime they want to, or people that has LIS. But that's pretty strong stuff there. Our house calls visit. How many of you are familiar with that? How many of you are new in the room? Okay, we as Care Improvement Plus started a program a couple of years ago, and we actually started off sending physicians out to visit with the members at home to do an assessment, so to speak. Didn't really treat diseases or anything, but just went in and done a health assessment. And it grew so fast that we moved from physicians to nurse practitioners. And when United Healthcare decided to buy Care Improvement Plus, that's the reason that they bought Care Improvement Plus, the house calls. They have now instituted that throughout United Healthcare, and they do literally hundreds of thousands of those now. It's really phenomenal, but some of the things that they're doing now, they've expanded the program to even doing things like tests for, I guess, things that lead to colon cancer and things of that nature, if you want to participate in that. Nobody has to participate in it, but it does something for both the member, and it does something for the company as well. You know, we've had these house call practitioners to walk into people's home and literally pick up the phone and call 911. On the other hand, sometimes that they uncover things in those appointments that we use as a company, and we'll contact CMS and say, listen, this is a high-risk person. They have this many diseases, and sometimes that changes a bit the reimbursement that we get to how that person's coverage. So, you know, it's a win-win for everybody, and certainly it's a win-win for you, because that's one of the things that we think helps to keep the folks on the book. But I'm going to stop there, and I've kind of stole a little bit of thunder from Rodney there, but sometimes I do that intentionally anyway. So.
Well, the good thing about this group today is y'all are 2 days away from our real live open presentations, which we are guaranteed to be 2 hours. But today it's just a mad scramble, because that's of course nowhere near being completed yet. So I'm actually going to jump off of what we actually had here and go in a little bit different direction to kind of focus on some of the sales points. I'm going to touch on this, but to add to the house calls, Eddie mentioned some of the things that are being added to that. Cholesterol screening being done at house calls now. Flu vaccinations being done at house calls now. So a pretty worthwhile visit there. It's funny, we were in North Carolina at a FMO meeting on, it was last week, Thursday of last week, and in North Carolina, they sell the United Healthcare product, and they're starting to get the house calls now, and all the agents are like, why would you want to do this? You know, this is causing complaints, nobody wants to do it. Does anybody feel that way in the room in here?
Nope.
Everyone, that should be like your #1 selling point. I mean, that is the one thing that truly, in my opinion, differentiates us from the competition, is that house calls visit, where the folks get at least 45 minutes or more to sit down with that nurse practitioner and talk about what's happening with their health. You know, there's story after story after story. I'm sure probably most of you have your own, but you know, they uncover a lot of stuff about how people are living there, how they're taking their medications. It's one thing to say, yes, I'm taking my medications, but then as a practitioner, if you see all the medications, which we have dumped into a bowl because somebody has arthritis so bad they can't open up their bottles and get to the medications, you know, there's a pretty good chance they're not taking their medications properly, right? So, so house calls, in my opinion, is one of the big ones. And like I said, we are started to getting, by the time I'm done talking here, Eddie will probably have new information for you to talk about because it's coming at us fast and furious now. But since we're not, in lieu of having anyone attend the open meetings, I did want to kind of touch on some of the bullet points with some of the specific products that Eddie had already mentioned a good bit of it, but just kind of wanted to run through some of the highlights, and I don't have it on a fancy PowerPoint. I think we can get it on the screen here, probably better than you can see the grid. But $29 premium. We talked about that on the non-chronic MAPD. Anybody sell the AARP prescription drug plans? What were those premiums last year? 22. Again, hot off the presses for 2015, we just got the premium amount on those PDPs. I'll go ahead and tell it to you now. The Saver plan, $28.10. Okay, and then the Preferred plan, $53.20. Okay, they're doing away with the Enhanced plan for this year. We're not going to go into the details of the PD plan itself, but just to give you an idea, that's what the premium is. So, you know, very, very comparable to what we would typically see with the Part D premium there to include all of the MAPD. Talked about the fact that $1.70 is the LIS premium. Minimal changes, specialist, PCP, hospital copay is the same. SNF actually reduced to zero copay for days 1 through 20. A couple of other things there. Again, the no deductible for tiers 1 and 2, and that also includes 5. The very expensive drugs, the tier 5 is not included. So the deductible is only on the tier 3 and 4 drugs. Slightly lower copays on the tier 1 drugs. Vision eyewear still included, routine. Hearing aid benefits still included, of course, with the copay. It is slightly different this year, just a little bit higher. Don't have the specific number here, but the house calls, again, still available in this program. That was one of the things that they talked about, is possibly cutting some costs. You know, that house calls is a fairly an expensive ordeal to make happen. So didn't do that. Kept that available to every member. Of course, the RPPO in every county, and the open access. I think Eddie may have stepped out, but I know he and I are very happy to say at this point, I believe we're still 0 hospitals in the state will not accept Care Improvement Plus. We had some battles with that recently. That's still right, Eddie?
That's true.
No hospitals at this point. No
Yeah, no
hospitals.
hospitals.
Every hospital will accept
Carolina
CIP.
won't.
Eddie will.
They will now?
Yeah.
So,
So I can
so
switch
that's a
people
big
back?
one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, switch them
they've actually, she said Carolinas is one of the ones we was having some issues with in
Florence.
Florence. They've actually signed not only a contract to accept us, but to be in the network with us.
And that just took place last week. And we were
Along
at
with-
risk of losing
Along with
5 or
Mary,
6 hospitals.
along with Mary Black in Spartanburg, they're part of the same chain. Good.
Yeah, off the top of my head. Get with me, I heard one of them, but it's very, very comparable to what the nurse line, of course, the nurse line on the MAPD plan, additional value adds, the My Advocate, Pharmacist, Pharmacy Saver. Pharmacy Saver, I'm gonna touch on some of these in a little bit more detail in just a moment. So, because I think this year, you know, we're definitely more sales oriented. The value, the health of our members is really something that we're focused on, and really where we want to sell on. No longer we're just in a situation where it's very obvious as to what we're doing in comparison to original Medicare and some of those things. So some of these things that we're talking about are very important. How many people have heard of the Medicaid, the state demonstration project? Okay, has anybody actually listened to like some of their carriers, some of the the care management module, the care management that they're putting in place, it sounds like what Care Improvement Plus has been doing for as long as we've been in existence. So that's where the focus is going across the board. That's where we have to get better. That's where we have to improve the bottom line, is by helping our members live healthier lives. So you'll see that across the board. Real quick with the gold plan, again, 0 premium for the gold plan. We talked about the qualifying conditions: diabetes, heart failure, and cardiovascular disease. Again, very small changes. Still have the zero copay for the routine podiatry visits.
I have a
$600.
question. I have a question about that. How does that determine? Because I have a lot of people that tell me they still have to pay the $25.
Here's what I've been told. We've had a lot of complaints about that, and basically this was the answer that I got from, at the time, he was the state provider person. If they do anything other than what's routine, then they bill it as whatever they did, and it's no longer considered routine. Okay? So I think the best thing of that portion of it for somebody that, member that wants to utilize that benefit, it's important that they go in there and they say, I want a routine podiatry visit. And that's what I have covered. That's what I want done. And hopefully that will clear some of the confusion. Because a lot of times what will happen is they'll get started with a routine, and then there's something that they need to do that takes it out of that routine category and puts it into a billable code.
Are you gonna give this to Scott? So can we have the slides after you finish it?
Yeah, as soon as, well, these slides aren't approved.
Okay.
So that's why I say we're at that time of the year where we have to be very careful with what we put out there. But certainly the benefits grids, as soon as we have what they say is final that we can get out, we're gonna get them to you. That's the reason why, like I said, all of this stuff comes, so we just got all of this stuff yesterday.
Okay.
And so we have a lot more today than what we had even just yesterday.
And normally, we have the proposed benefits too, we can email those out too,
Oh, okay.
for what's been filed.
Yeah, and if those are from the,
We have those from Messer.
from the Messer, those are probably already, like the dental, I think, the Dual Advantage was originally filed with dental. Kind of a mistake that it got left out, but that's what we ended up with. But again, talk about the value of the silver plan this year versus the dual. Eddie's already talked about it, so I won't spend a lot of time with it. But again, the big hitters: 0 copay on the hearing aids, and routine podiatry also included there. The 0 copay. Over the counter is $30 a quarter. Transportation actually increased to 24 one-way trips. The vision there, $125 credit for frames or contact lenses. We talked about the rest of that stuff. So
that does not include cardiovascular disorders, just congestive heart failure.
that's correct.
That's correct.
And to try to clarify it a little bit, I have the question here. What's the difference between heart failure and cardiovascular disease? Heart failure is a very serious disease. It's not often that we have someone that thinks that they have heart failure that don't. And that's pretty congestive heart failure, left side, right side, all those followed by heart failure. That's going to qualify for the silver plan. The cardiovascular disease, that is the one that really opens up a lot more people with the stents and the, somebody mentioned strokes. There are a lot of things that can be caused by cardiovascular disease. I mean, even a heart attack. I mean, that's typically you think that's going to be a result of coronary artery disease, but there are other things that can trigger it. But it's anything that has to do with that, with the heart and issues. is a good indicator that they probably have a cardiovascular disease.
Most
But again, we want to,
time
we
on the
want
heart
to make
failure
certain.
is referred to as congestive heart failure. We actually had congestive heart failure on our materials back some years ago, and they made us pull everything, because CMS's term is heart failure, not just congestive heart failure, but basically it's a buildup of fluids around the heart that cause the muscles in the heart to die.
It's also called cardiomyopathy. It has-
Cardiomyopathy is just enlarged heart.
Yeah.
That's congestive heart failure. My husband has congestive heart failure.
Mhm.
Myocardial myopathy.
So getting into the care, the care management aspect of things, again, these are the things that we're going to, these are the things that we do to help people live healthier lives. So things that we really want to focus on when we're out in the homes. The house calls, I think we've covered that one well enough. That's your bread and butter right there. No one else that I'm aware of in the state are doing the house calls. And the results that we get from it are just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the amount of referrals, just referrals to their primary care physicians, happen probably on the majority of these house calls for one reason or another. But even emergent care and things like that, immediate risks that are identified. 96% of the folks found the house call visit to be helpful. When I had that person that was complaining about the house calls and saying it was causing like complaints to Medicare and things of that nature, it sounded odd because it's because of y'all, the agents, how you present it out there. But I think in South Carolina we have an acceptance rate of nearly 80%. So nearly 80% of our members are actually doing a house call. And you see the very high percentage of the members that are satisfied with it.
It's less than 30.
Y'all are getting it done the right way. We have our agents in other parts of the country that are new to this. They don't get it. And it's kind of funny. Maybe I could probably sit and chat with some of y'all and get some feedback as to how to help them communicate that message. You're doing a great job with it, and we appreciate it. Just what's in the book is the enrollment kit, of course, has in there. A lot of the other things that, like the house call will identify, getting into someone's home, you see what's going on in there. And a lot of times that leads over to a referral to the My Advocate, or formerly social service coordinators, where we identify other needs. We've got the obvious one, the Medicaid and the LIS, those things that are out there. But in different areas, there are a lot of different assistance that may be available that people may not be applying for. Okay, and when these practitioners go out there and they see an 80-year-old lady sitting in a home with no heat, no air conditioning, it's 100 degrees outside, they're going to look for these programs. They're going to get them in touch with My Advocate and try to find them some resources to obviously that's not healthy, right? It doesn't matter who you are. There's a lot of the folks that are in situations like that that are unhealthy. And we can identify, in a lot of cases, we can identify programs that will help them through the My Advocate program. Help them with meals, prescription drugs, heating bills, in-home services, even utilities and things of that nature. So one program that leads into another there. Another big thing about the house calls, it helps with the star ratings. That's been last year has been a very difficult year with CIP and star ratings, right? Okay, again, hot off the presses, nothing finalized. We are very optimistic. Final results will come out in a few weeks, but we are very optimistic that we will see improvement on the RPPO star ratings.
So no more letters from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services pissing off our clients?
If we in fact get that improvement, yes sir, you got it. And we're talking about a difference. 2.5 stars get the letter. 3 stars would not get the letter, so we are very optimistic that we will have a positive result there when the actual final words come out in 3 to 4 weeks. So that is great news, folks. And again, that's your efforts in the field making that happen. We started as a company. We've taken a lot of initiative. Last year's trainings, we talked about the SCP trainings. We talked about ways that we can improve that as agents out in the field, and that's a result of your efforts. It's a result of a combination of everyone's efforts working to make that better. So, hopefully we'll get that. Next goal, 4 stars, right? More stars we got, the more money we can put into benefits. So that's what we're looking to do. Eddie talked about pharmacists a little bit, making sure we're getting the right medications, taking them as prescribed, avoiding interactions. These are things that this pharmacist department does. When they see a prescription come in, they match it with other prescriptions. Of course, it's all internal. Nobody's actually looking at this, but there are flags to catch those situations. When they're identified, we do reach out and make those calls and do what we need to do to get those interactions corrected or mediated there. So, Pharmacy Saver. This slide says $2. Again, this presentation was done a couple of weeks ago. I think there's actually one drug this year that's at $1. Quite a few drugs that are $1.50, between $1.50 and $2. So you see the important thing that I want you to see up there is the vendors. A very large list. I think it's nearly a couple hundred drugs that are actually on this Pharmacy Saver program, where members can go to these vendors and get this preferred pharmacy pricing. Okay? So again, Eddie mentioned ways to save, more ways to save money, more ways to sell this plan, CIP, when you're in the home. Anything that we can do to save money is going to be good for our members, right? Anything that we can do to help to keep them be healthier, we want to do that as well. Eye Health Innovations, the hearing aids benefit. Again, it's I believe it's for most of the plans $390 for the $390 for the outer ear, $450 for the inner ear. Okay, so a slight increase from last year, but again, the silver plan, 0 copay. That's going to go a long ways when this state plan comes out with their benefits. Their plans come first of the year. Everyone heard of that? Everyone somewhat familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I want to point out about that, I've got a lot of questions about how is that going to affect my membership? If I've got a CIP member that's dual eligible, how is that going to affect them? Anyone that has made a plan, made a choice into a plan, into a Medicare plan, so a CIP, whether it be dual or silver, they've made a choice to be in that plan. They will not be auto-enrolled into the state plan if they're a current CIP member. Okay? So I think that's a very important piece. I've not seen benefits to that from any of the carriers. I know some are being more, there's actually 4 different carriers that are participating. I know some are being more aggressive with sales than others, but at this point, I think we'll compete with the dual plan. I don't think they'll be able to compete with the silver plan. So just to kind of give you a heads up, because of that, the hearing aid benefit, I think is a real winner for us.
The network for that hearing aid benefit, is that going to increase or easier access for the area, for this area?
We're going to have to improve that. I'm not going to lie to you. That's something that we have to improve. We have our nearest person that actually can do those hearing tests for free is actually in Charlotte. Okay. I think with this benefit, I've had conversations with the upper level management at the Eye Health Innovations. Eye Health Innovations, it is a you have to use them to take advantage of the benefit. But I think when they see the utilization, they're going to have to do something. When you can get the test done, wherever you can get the test done, so far as the hearing test. But yeah, we need to have more access for those hearing tests here. We don't right now. So I'm hoping that'll improve over the course of the year.
So what is your recommendation as far as people that are on that plan around here in Charleston? There's no way to travel into Charlotte. What do they do?
Go to one of the local, go to a local audiologist.
The difference
You can
is
get the
this.
hearing test done anywhere. They can actually, I believe they can do them online now, can't they? One of the things that United Healthcare is trying to do to improve access is work with primary care physicians and provide them with the basic audiology tests so that actual primary care physicians can do them. I can tell you that's really not taken off the ground yet, but that's where they are looking to focus efforts to expand the access. So we'll have to see how that goes. Again, this is something that's just been identified. So the utilization of this is going to go through the roof, and so we'll more information to come on that is the best way to say it. Because we're going to have to do something to help with those folks.
And obviously, that's hearing aids cost, I mean, on the open market,
Transportation. Well, you know what? Technically, they could use the transportation if Charlotte, I believe we've got a little more than 60 miles, but that's a very good point. I like the transportation there.
I need to walk the rest of it.
Yeah. 60 miles. Okay. Transportation, 60 miles one way. Everybody knows how that works, right? One way, so you don't have to. You like on the silver plan we talked about, you get 24 one-way trips. If you got a family member or something that can take you one way, you need a ride back. It only costs you, it only utilizes one of those trips versus having to book a 12, or as opposed to having 12 round trip benefits. Personal care specialist. This is the catch-all. Care Improvement Plus used to call this the care manager. So this is the individual personal hands-on assistance that's available for anything that a member may need. Setting doctor's appointments, understanding the medications, finding ways to stay in their home. This is kind of the catch-all setup, so to speak, where if we identify an issue, we get them to the right people, whether it be my advocate, whether it be a pharmacist, specialist, or transportation vendor to get them set up with that. While I'm thinking about it, again, new stuff. The routine dental and vision is going to be a little different this year. It's going to be with the United Healthcare Dental. Should be no problems with access there. Okay, I can't tell you who's in it or who's not in it, but I do know that that is going to be a change. Also. In fact, I know some of you, I've worked on complaints with transportation right here out of your office. That vendor is also changing for 2015. The point is, we hear you. We hear you loud and clear. Not only do we hear you, Medicare hears you, complaints to Medicare. We're going to do what we can to improve our outcomes, regardless of what it is. And those are, I think the United Healthcare network with the dental and the vision, that's probably a cost-saving opportunity for us.
So Avisus is out.
Avisus is out. Okay. The transportation, I think that was you're not getting it done, we're going to go somewhere else issue. So again, we want to hear those situations. Don't think for a second that it doesn't make a difference. It may not make a difference to your individual member, and it may seem like you didn't get any results as a purpose of calling, but I promise you, your call matters to us. So continue to let us know stuff that is happening in the field, because we're going to do everything that we can to get it right. Vision and dental, again, on all of our plans except for the dual advantage, include the routine exam, cleaning, x-rays, nurse hotline. We've kind of talked about that a little bit. That actually will not be included on the dual plan this year. If they have the number, I don't know how they're going to police that, but that's what we're told. So maybe more to come on that. A couple of things I wanted to point out, just kind of random facts, or random little things that you may or may not know. Everybody aware of the commissions? All plans are fully commissionable at this point, right? Okay. All new to Medicare business. So if it's not a renewal case, if it's a turning 65 or it's someone that's never been on a Medicare Advantage plan, you're going to get paid full $400, even if you write a 10-1 or 11-1 or a 12-1 effective, which we have a lot of ability to do that with the special needs plans, right? And the dual plans, okay? That new to Medicare business is going to be paid a full, well, whatever the commissions are.
Wait a minute.
Really? I wrote that down already.
Yeah, we like the 400.
No, well, the bonus commission, the primary commission plus the bonus a new to Medicare commission on those cases, and the renewals will start in January. Okay? So a big opportunity there to increase your not only your income for this year, but going forward with the renewal starting.
Can you back up again? You said well, say that again.
Okay? New to Medicare business
Okay.
gets paid the new to Medicare rate, whatever that may be, okay? And I honestly, I don't know what the rates are. I
Okay.
couldn't tell you, because we don't get involved with any of the contracts. But whatever the rate is, you get paid the full annual, and then renewals start in January. Is that correct?
The following year, right?
No,
But
no,
it'll
you're
start
right, this year,
Starting in January of this year,
Yeah.
you're gonna get paid renewal commission on everyone that you have in the books.
Okay.
On the books. If
You
you
write a
write
quote.
someone for a 10-1 or 11-1 effective, you're gonna start receiving renewal commissions in
Yeah.
January.
Okay.
You'll receive the initial renewal rate of 207 or whatever it is, and then you'll get the true up, and then you'll start drawing renewals in January.
On
That's
a-
gonna be a
on a-
big selling option coming up, especially for clients that are ready to start care improvement right away, get them started on a 11/1, 12/1 effective date. Essentially, will be setting yourself up for getting paid right away, plus.
Basically, you can get paid almost double.
And of
Okay?
course,
And I personally, I feel like this, this,
but that's okay.
the state Medicaid plan, okay, there's gonna be a lot of mail going out there. Those that have dual members, they're gonna be getting bombarded with mail from these different carriers, okay? They're gonna get applications. You know, I said they wouldn't automatically be removed. The auto enrollment starts in April. But if they fill out an application, send it in, obviously they're enrolling into the plan, okay? But I think that's also gonna create a lot of activity. Activity generates activity, right? I think those folks are gonna start reaching out to agents, they're gonna start having questions and seeking advice, okay? Again, a great opportunity for some of that new to Medicare Advantage business. Those folks are gonna be asking questions, and I think it's gonna generate activity for agents in that market space, I really do, okay? Talked about the open access, does anybody sell the Medicare supplements? A few of you selling AARP? We're expecting the national average on Medicare supplements increase for 2015 is gonna be less than 1%. Okay? Not fantastic number, not sure what it'll be in South Carolina yet, but we were given that as a national number. And something else that, and just again, odds and ends here, we are putting in place a system, a process where agents can escalate a situation that a member is having, okay? If a member's having a claims issue or a member's having whatever